today. Thank you so much, Anita, for joining us today, and thank you for also for what you do as well. All right, so Anita, I would like to ask you this: growing up for you, what are the decisions that you made early in life that has made a tremendous impact to who you are today?
Simon, I think it's fair to say that, listen, when you're young, when you're a 9-year-old, a 10-year-old, you know things that you like to do. You're too young to know what it means ultimately, because at that age, you know, you just feel that, listen, when I'm on stage, if I have a microphone, if I'm in church, whatever it is, I come to life, but you don't know what it means. But as you're growing up, you know, and perhaps for me, consciously around the age of 13, the age of 14, when I worked, you know, when I did my internships, when I volunteered in media houses, etc., these were the places, and my decision to spend my holidays working, these were the kinds of decisions that were helping me find my path. So it was also helping me remove the concept of what I was doing at the time as being a hobby and shaping it into what I believe could be what I wanted to do for the rest of my life. But even then, as a teenager, when you think, oh, I would like to be this, it's still very broad. It's still very vague. So along the way, you know, then of course, by God's grace, you have your studies, you are surrounded by people you admire, you can interact with them. Even though at the time, it wasn't so easy to interact with people we looked up to, as opposed to now when you can actually just email or WhatsApp or, you know, set a LinkedIn connection to a mentor or potential mentor. So perhaps, you know, during my university days, where I went to university at Trent University in Peterborough, Canada, was when I started to feel like, listen, all these different kinds of decisions I've been making to stay focused in this space of media, now I know this is what I want to pursue. I was, you know, blessed with various opportunities of working through the media, but you're talking about the kind of decisions. It was perhaps towards my early 30s where I said, listen, it's one thing having a career in media, but it's another having a career in media that speaks to a certain need, a certain community, a certain topic. So then to shape it is to find what really was deep down in my heart. The things that I liked, the things I didn't like, the things that were challenging for me, the things that were easy for me, the things that I felt now I can roll out of bed and talk about this particular thing, even without thinking whether or not I should, because I live and I breathe it. So the decision of using the media as a platform then to talk about issues or successes that are connected to women and girls, then is when I felt, okay, now I have shaped my purpose around my career. So there's a plethora of decisions I made. Each of them had a role to play at a specific time in my life. And who you are speaking to today is a mature woman who is not afraid of saying, I am a media or broadcast professional, and this is my emphasis, this is my focus, because I live it, because I believe it, and because on any given day, I would be happy and proud to advocate for it.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Anita. Anita, you know, you mentioned about being focused. At that age for you, you will understand with me that a lot of young people, a lot of youth are finding it very difficult to be focused on a particular career path. How have you been able to stay focused, considering your environment, the influence of people? How have you been able to stay focused to become who you are today?
Simon, let's be honest. At the end of the day, it's only at a certain age that you find focus. Listen, when you're young, you are surrounded with so many options. It's social options. It's, you know, this option. In school, you have different kinds of options. And when I say options, I'm not meaning access to the ability to dream and to explore. No, I'm even talking about basic options with friends, the kind of friends you choose. When you're young, these are options that are open to you. But then as you get older and you start sifting what means something to you and really what you don't like, you start removing what it tastes bitter in your mouth. You start removing what makes you feel uncomfortable. So with age, with maturity, you have the confidence and the boldness to start to remove the things that you feel, it doesn't fit in my life. When you are young, I mean, and you're referring to young people and focus. Listen, when you're young, the concept of focus really almost always only shows up maybe in school. You know, focus on your studies so that you can pass. Focus on your studies so you can make it to secondary school. Focus on your studies so you can make it into university. But as you get older, the concept of focus then becomes, okay, hang on a second. What is the sound of my own voice? What is the beat of my own heart? What is it that, listen, so many people are doing this, but no, because I don't really believe in it, because I'm not really interested in it, I want to focus on something else. And then with maturity, you also build the boldness to say that nobody's going in this direction, but I'm going to go in this direction because it is where I believe I can make the kind of impact on my own life. Or maybe if it's social impact I'm looking for, it's where I'm looking for the impact on people. So I always say, let's not put too much pressure on the youth. Otherwise, you tend to force people to not enjoy their moment of, quote unquote, I say this very carefully, exploring what life is about. You know what I mean? And we have put so much emphasis of needing to be focused. You need to be focused, that people are forgetting that, listen, when you're a teenager, you need to be a certain kind of teenager. You need to explore a certain kind of thing. Hopefully it's a good kind of thing that may put you on the path to good things. When you're in your 20s, there's a certain kind of focus you need. When you're in your 30s. So I want to use this platform also to say, the world has become so competitive that we are compelling people at a very young age to be focused, be determined. But maybe at that age, they just need to live. They just need to explore. They just need to fail one geography course once and learn that, hey, in order for me to pass, this is the kind of student I need to be. So I like your question because it also gives me an opportunity to even speak to parents and say that, listen, if at the age of 15 or 16, your child doesn't really know what they want to be, don't ask, what do you want to be? Ask, what are you interested in? What's the kind of thing you are interested in? What's the kind of conversation that makes you feel like, I want to read more and I want to be able to contribute to this conversation. So listen, please don't look at me that I'm in my mid-40s and, oh, by the way, you are so focused. It took me decades to understand what is my focus. But before then, I had the privilege. I had parents who were very supportive. I have siblings who are very supportive to allow me to, okay, explore a little bit of this and explore a little bit of that. I didn't have focus till I was perhaps in my 30s. You know, so I don't want it to make it seem like, oh, from 15 to 44. No, from 15 through many experiences. Some good, some bad, some imbalanced, some balanced. Then you find the focus. But the focus doesn't stand alone. The focus comes with courage. You cannot be focused if you don't have courage to choose what you want to be focused on. And honestly, Simon, that kind of courage doesn't come to you at 15. It comes to you sometimes at 20, 21. But it comes to you individually when it's the right time for you. So let's be very, very careful how we put pressure on our youth to be focused. Otherwise, they press the fast forward button and they lose out on all the things that the world and life has designed for them to see, explore, understand, to choose, to dissect. And we lose experienced individuals because they fast track their lives.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anita. Anita, can you share with us 3 advices that you have gotten from someone that have made a tremendous impact to who you are today?
I love this question. I'm going to choose 3 advice, 2 that one I hated, 1 that I was, okay, I hear you, and 1 I loved. Okay. So the first I hated, don't be so vocal. You know, people don't like people who talk too much, you know, listen more. Okay. I hated this advice because the person who gave me this advice was telling me not to speak too much from the perspective of fear. They feared what would happen to them if they spoke up. So by extension, they feared what would happen to me if I spoke up. I hated that advice because for a long time I was quiet. And for a long time, I rolled my tongue back into my throat, waiting for an opportunity to be asked, Anita, what do you think? And when I realized that nobody was asking Anita, what do you think? I said, well, this is the worst advice you could give me. Because in a room full of hundreds of thousands of people, sometimes, maybe the person that would give me the opportunity can't even see me. So do what? I have to put up my hand so that they can see that my hand is up, then so that I can speak. So that was the advice that I hated. 2, the advice that I thought was choose only one thing and be focused on it. And I thought, yeah, it is true. There is some value to choosing one thing so that you can put all your energy on it. Because I do believe, and I've seen people choose the one thing and become exceptional at it. But you know what I hated about that advice? I'm not built to focus on one thing. This is how the good Lord made me. I'm built to be versatile. I'm built to have a plethora of projects in front of me. I'm built to speak to various kinds of people. I'm built to speak to a room of diverse people. So when you say only focus on this and only focus on that, it starts to become a problem. The only time focus on that one thing is good for me is when I've said, you know what, I'm going to focus on this particular kind of community. I want to build this community for now. When I'm done with this community, I want to migrate to the next community. So yes, so that was the advice that was, I don't know. It works sometimes, it doesn't work other times. The third advice that I got that works all the time is be true to yourself and be authentic. It doesn't matter what room I've gone into, Simon. It doesn't matter who I've had to interact with, Simon. It doesn't matter what the word of the day is. As long as I have told the truth, as long as I've shared what it is, that is truly authentic to who I am, that's from the bottom of my heart, that is not about pretense, I have walked away feeling so fulfilled, even if, and here's the truth, even if sometimes on those days, the truth made a lot of people in that room uncomfortable. But I've shared it because this is my truth. And it may not be comfortable to you, but I'm sure deep down in your heart, some way, somehow, somewhere, you know that you should give me my flowers for being truthful, or you know that what I've shared has hit you somehow. So the real advice that they all have had their impact on me some way, somehow.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Anita. Anita, you mentioned something about the talent that God has given to you, that you have to make a living of your talent. It was given to you by God and not from you to other people. Can you talk about that? I just really want to talk about that in depth so that people will really, really understand why your talent was given to you to make a living out of it. And of course, to understand the fact that it was given to you by God.
If you, everybody, like I said, you know, this is social media. So, you know, we speak to everybody. And so I always say that the disclaimer here is my belief system is, you know, God Almighty. And I believe that other people have their very different belief systems, which I respect. So I choose to talk about what God has bestowed upon me. We all have a desire to show up somewhere. We all have a desire to have a certain kind of platform. And having a platform, by the way, is not about whether you're a public person, a public figure, outspoken or not. No. Even in the most quiet and even in the most hidden spaces, sometimes our platform is a little tiny space with 2 or 3 people listening to us. That's enough to be a platform. I believe that when you are born, you're given something. Some people are given a talent of using their hands. Some people will never go to carpentry school, and yet when they build, you wonder, wow. Some people are also very talented with their hands. When they take one screwdriver and they take another screwdriver, they can create something. They've never been to engineering school, and it makes you wonder, wow. Some people are great with baking, with cooking. They say, well, I learned it from my grandmother, and then they have the skill, the automatic skill and the gift to add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and you're like, which recipe book did you get this from? Oh, I don't know. I just woke up and decided, let me put. You see, so all these things I'm describing, you know, and then you'll see sometimes little children are so bold. They'll take a lizard and then they'll dangle it. You know, those little children who have no fear for things that, you know, traditionally other children be like, yay! And then you monitor these children and you realize one day, they say, boom, I'm in medical school. So I think that when you're born, you're giving something. If you are blessed, if you are, maybe the word is not only blessed, if you are conscious of what it is, as you grow, you start to realize, wow, I wonder how it is that I'm able to just pick up a pencil and just draw something. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm drawing, but at the end of that thing, I'm like, wow, did I make that? That's the natural gift and talent we're all given. My idea of the perfect career is the one that gift you're given is then nicely washed and polished with further education, whichever kind of education you have access to, with further teaching to polish it and to make it less crooked, to make it a little bit more smooth, to make it sometimes more palatable, to make it sometimes more, you know, appreciative to the eye or to the ear, whatever it is that is. But that's the kind of career that when you are able to go to that every single day, you are truly living your purpose. And you've taken your gift, you have polished it, you have made it into a skill, and then you have commercialized it, because absolutely no gift is designed to make us hungry. And that is what I believe. I didn't read this anywhere in the Bible, so I'm not going to quote anywhere in the Bible, but I'm sure it's there somewhere. Every single gift we all have is designed to make us live a life, live a full life where we can feed ourselves, make a full life where we can take care of our families, make a full life. Now, we live in a world where if you say to your parents, I want to become a singer because you know how to sing, the first thing they're going to say to you is, sing, okay. Come on, you're going to medical school. You know what I mean? But that is culture and tradition. And sometimes you realize that you have to go hard. You have to really force your parents to see the value, to see that you're really committed to this music thing. Or sometimes you want to be a doctor and your parents says, hey, no. Everybody in this family is a lawyer. You shall be a lawyer. But maybe only you, God gave a gift of loving humankind, taking care of humankind, something that you do naturally. You know, you see somebody's cut, you don't feel, ooh, you really just want to take it. That's a talent, that's a gift. So I believe that in order for you to have a fulfilling career, that career has to be in line with your calling, in line with your gift, so that you do it, you know, so when you're doing it, it just, I don't know, man, it just comes from your heart. It doesn't feel like, tell the patient to come tomorrow. No, it feels like, listen, I'm really tired physically, but no, I'm going to help that patient. And you see it all the time. So when you see somebody who, no, this person is doing this because it's a gift, you see how power and passion fuels what they do. So what I meant by that post is, if you can, and I want to say, I know that not all of us have the kind of talent or gift that our family or our community wants to support us to help to grow or to blossom. I know that. But if you can, discover what gift you are given. Discover what is that thing that comes naturally to me that makes people around me feel so good. It makes people around me feel assured. And then how do I take it to the next level? How do I commercialize it so that this thing that comes to me so easily because it's a gift from above is now what I do for a living? It can feed me, and then I can do it for the rest of my life.
Absolutely. Thank you very, very much, Anita. That's really, really profound. Okay, speaking of gifts, talent, and achieving one's dream, what is the role of being persistent and being consistent as well in achieving your goals? What's the role of it?
So you know how I've just described, oh, this is a gift, and I make it sound so easy. I make it sound as if you're born today, you discover that your gift is this, tomorrow you are powerful, you are successful, you're a millionaire, because no, not at all. You will fall, you will make mistakes, you will partner with the wrong person, you don't understand finances, you will overspend, you will file for bankruptcy. Listen, you will go through all the various motions before the day when you realize, oh, this is a better way of doing this. This is a better way of doing that. Simon, if the answer to your question, if this makes sense, the answer to your question, tell me. It is why I feel that education is so important, because education is the major connector between dream and reality. Education, and I'm not just talking sit in class and learn 1 + 1. I'm talking top influencers, for example. This is educated. Listen to what somebody who has some kind of experience has to say. Not only the good part, also the bad parts, also the parts where they failed a lot because they thought they could just really just turn this talent into a business. It doesn't work like that. So I have had to interact with people. I have had to even share my story so that other people can give me advice on what they think I can do better. I have had to educate, self-educate, and gain more education in order to make whatever ambition or dream I have not only viable, but also possible, and also it's got to make me money. So it's really important that we don't simplify the idea that once you're talented, you make money. Once you're talented, you become successful. No, once you're talented, you first of all have to discover what is that talent. There's a difference between what you like to do and what you are able to do. So I have people in my choir who like to sing. God forgive me, they don't know how to sing. But they like to sing so much that they show up every day to choir practice. And for that, I celebrate and I respect them, but they don't know how to sing. Then I know people who know how to sing, but they're too complacent to understand what it is that can take them from being a talented singer into being a successful, globally celebrated singer, so to speak. So then you have that. So in moments where you feel that, listen, I know that this is really what I want to do with my life, but that can help you navigate, because a lot of paths are not easy to navigate. We always sit and say, oh, we love music. I love music. Oh, I love medical school. Oh, I like medicine, whatever it is. But going to medical school is not easy. You will fail. You have to tell yourself, no, but this is what I really want to do. So you pick up the pieces and then you go for it again. Name it, law school. I know a lot of people who flunked out of law school, not once, not twice, but many times, but said, no, you know what? I want to become a lawyer. So you go back. So as much as it's easy, what I said before, that, oh, your talent should become what you live in, your talent is the same thing that will really challenge you. If you want it bad enough, you've got to find the necessary kind of opportunities. You've got to climb, you've got to pursue in order to be able to turn this talent into a viable career. Does that answer your question?
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Anita. Anita, what do you do on a daily, weekly, and monthly basis for personal and self-development that have helped you thus far?
You know, I remember 2 years ago, COVID happened, right? And listen, I run a successful business. Nobody could have prepared me for COVID. Nobody could have prepared me for the impact of COVID on my business. Nobody could have prepared me for the moment of confusion and loss. And listen, we all went through it. So COVID isn't something that only happened to one person. It happened to all of us. Simon, I have to say that during COVID is when I realized the most how complacent I had been. Where the complacency is, you know you're good at something, right? You know you found balance, right? You're good. And then the environment around you changes. And suddenly you realize that this whole time, I had not been pursuing the next level of who I am or what I do. That's why I'm lost. That is why I was unprepared. That is why suddenly I'm like, hey, now I've got to figure out, oh, this time, no. So what I do on a daily basis, now that I know what life can look like, is self-educating. During COVID, I started my master's. And you know, it's so funny because everybody I said, listen, I'm a master's student, like, you know so much. What are you going to school again for? What kind of English you now want to speak? And I had to explain to them that no, education is not about what it's not what you don't do because you think you know. It's what you do because you have I give myself now, which is traditional education, which is pursuing my master's in communications management, because it's teaching me more how to keep pushing the agenda of being a businesswoman in the field of communication, and not just an excellent communicator. And then I also educate myself with a lot of documentaries. Sometimes I'm in awe of what nature documentaries will teach you. Last but definitely not the least, I have discovered the beautiful, most extraordinary gift of education is speaking to young people. I have a 22-year-old mentor, trust me. What she teaches me on a weekly basis about tech, about entrepreneurship. Honestly, Simon, I'm like, sometimes I have to just hide my awe and be like, oh yeah, I knew that. You know, so education is also very, very intentional. You have to say that I want to intentionally reach or surpass a certain aspect of my own life. And in order for me to reach or surpass that level, I need to seek further education. So these are the things that I'm doing on a daily basis to ensure that I surprise my own self. And that's the thing. When things stop being a surprise to you, then your life is boring. So these opportunities to be educated by young people, you know, such as talking to you, Simon, be educated in the classrooms, that is what I'm doing at McMaster University in Hamilton, Canada, such as, what else is there? Such as interacting even with colleagues in the space, talking to my colleagues and talking to people I've just met on LinkedIn, understanding. So what this role that I see that you've written there, what is in that role? all of these are opportunities to be educated so that I can surpass my own expectations.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Anita. Anita, as an entrepreneur, what are the attributes that entrepreneurs must have to become successful, of course, as an entrepreneur? What are the attributes, characteristics that entrepreneurs must have?
Two important attributes for me. One, what is the thing right next to you that needs a solution? It's not far away. It's not you traveled to Singapore and you've seen that in Singapore they have this. That alone is not enough. Entrepreneurship is about solving this thing right next to me. It's right here in my home. It's right here next to me. And it's a gaping hole. And I have the capacity to fill that hole. I have the capacity to contribute to filling that hole, solving that problem. Because if I can fix this problem that's right next to me, I contribute to the bigger problem that my continent has been worried about. Now, I may travel to Singapore to learn how best to solve this. Absolutely. Not a problem at all. I may have collaborators in China. I may have collaborators in the United States. But ultimately, the solution that I am bringing home is a solution that must be homegrown. I can learn how these people did it. I can learn all the best practices, and then I have to mold it, repackage it so that it fits the problem that this gaping hole is creating right in my home. That's, I think, the first mark of entrepreneurship. The second one is, as I woke up this morning having a great idea, that I realized that there's a major problem in my community and I want to fix it. Let me also have the great social bandwidth to understand that I'm going to fail at this a number of times. I will fail and fail and fail. But that thing that is in my core, that is in my middle, which is persistence and which is resilience, compels me to continue trying. It may be on my 100th try that the solution will work. And sometimes the solution isn't just finding the right glass, or the solution isn't just finding the right bottle. The solution might just be educating the people around you in that community that this solution is what will help all of us. So let us try it. So these are the two things. I mean, there's more, but these two, I feel that if as an entrepreneur, you understand how to see what your community needs and you understand how to innovate to solve those homegrown problems with homegrown solutions, I think you find, no, not I think, I know then you find success. But not to say that entrepreneurship is an island on its own. No, entrepreneurship is best when you understand what the best practices are, when you open yourself up to understanding how other markets and other people have done it. But when you understand that it's got to then be adapted to fit what is required for my space, my community, or my society.
Absolutely. Thank you so very much, Anita. Even as we round off now, you mentioned about the social network and all. What are the steps that one could take to have the right kind of friends, and of course that will help one in being the better person of oneself?
Don't worry, when you're young and you make certain kind of friends who get you in trouble, it's all part of life. I just pray that the kind of trouble you get into, you can bounce back from it. Oh, and we've all been through some kind of trouble. Please don't look at me and say, oh, she's so perfect. I am far from perfect. I've had the kind of friends, and I've been the kind of friend who has been horrible, but for grace, I'm here today. But I think that look for people with whom you can have that unending, inspiring conversation. Look for the kind of friends who they don't have to have the same interests as you. But even if you bring up your interests, they must be willing to listen and then make the kind of contributions that make you think, yeah, I get it. What you're saying is true. Oh, wow, I never thought about it. And also surround yourself with people who are not afraid to tell you that what you're saying is crap, or what you're saying, There's two kind of voices here. There's the one that convinces you that what you should do is no good. You're not looking for that kind of friend because they're the one that belittles every single effort. And you can tell the difference. There's one that says, hey, is it even possible? Because me, no, that's not the kind of person you're looking for. The kind of person you're looking for is like, something. I think I saw somebody do something like this the last time, but the way they did it, it didn't work. Maybe if you tried it that way, but sis, it's going to be a bit difficult. But anyway, try it and see. That's the kind of friend, or that's the kind of community you're looking for. We will all surpass different rooms. We will all go through different rooms with different kind of people, from church to office to whatever it is. But in terms of what you surround yourself intentionally with, or you surround yourself intentionally by, it should be the kind of voices that make you stop, listen, rethink, if required, reimagine. And always pay attention to how these people applaud you. Whether it's a mentor kind of relationship, whether it's a senior executive, a boss kind of relationship, always pay attention to how they applaud your efforts, no matter how small. When they applaud your tiniest efforts with, yeah, Simon, that's really good. Yeah, let's keep going. Then you know you are worth having in my life. When they don't applaud your small efforts and they're only waiting for the big ones to applaud, then you know what? If I fall, you're not going to be picking me up at all. You're just waiting for when I'm successful to come and say, hey, Simon, I remember you used to be one of my good students. No. So even in school, I always enjoyed the teachers and the older, people who always looked at my little tiny successes and say, yeah, you know what? You've made progress. Keep going. So I would say always surround yourself with people who are able to applaud you, even with the tiniest success. And if you get to that point where the person next to you doesn't make you feel good, pray for the courage to walk away. And whether it's a platonic, romantic, professional relationship, if the person you are interacting with, if the person you are hanging out with, if the person that you've even asked to teach you, if the person you've even asked to mentor you doesn't make you feel good about yourself, then walk away from that relationship.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Anita. Anita, if you are given an opportunity to speak to the whole world for 1 minute, what are you going to talk about and why?
I would say, my name is Anita Erskine. I like to call myself a global African storyteller because for many years I have built the kind of voice that I have today. A voice that is proud to be African, a voice that is owning our own African problem, but a voice that is also telling young people that they can be more than who they are. And I have an opportunity to extend this conversation by teaching you what makes Africa beautiful so that you can understand that Africa isn't only the problems you see, but we have so much to offer the world. And Africa's women, they are coming. Africa's women do require a seat at the table because they have so much to offer. And if you give them that chance, you will never regret it. Is my 1 minute up?
Thank you very much, Anita. Honestly, it's so good to have you today on the show. And this is, of course, going to be my last question for you. And Anita, if you have to give the 22-year-old Anita Erskine an advice, what are you going to give to her?
Please be careful who you tell your dreams to. Not everybody's going where you're going. Not everybody has the same desire as you. Not everybody has or shares in your ambition. Not everybody has the courage to do the wild things you've just described. And not everybody wants the kind of success you're looking for. So please be careful to speak to the same people or the people who share a deep desire to take their voice to the world. They're the people who will walk with you, who will hold your hand, and who will help you cross the largest, the widest, the longest bridges. And remember, not everybody is a friend, but everybody can be an acquaintance. When I was 22, I had to learn all of this the hard way. And that's exactly what I would say to her.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Anita. It's so good to have you today on the show. Every word that you have said today, honestly, it has been life transforming. Thank you so very much. And thank you for the amazing things that you do. Of course, we always keep up to you. And of course, on your post and of course, on all your social media handle, we are, of course, part of the people that we love to follow you because of the thought process and the things that you do. Thank you so very much, Anita. Anita, if I should round off now, is there anything you're working on or where can people reach you? Of course, this is the time for it.
I think that my handle is at the Anita Erskine, ERSKINE. Or you can go to my website, theanitaerskine.com. I do have a new organization that I'm launching. It's designed to help female-led startups with their communications needs. And I think it's essential that I talk about that right now. I also am bringing the STEM Women Project, which is my NGO that I co-founded with my colleague Richmond Enim-Damwa. Talking to girls in schools and bringing them into spaces where they can interact with the women in STEM that they do look up to globally. So that's also something that is on the radar. And I'm so grateful to you for giving me this platform, because your audience is my audience as well. And I'll be sharing a lot of that information. But if there's anyone who has watched this or who has listened to me and feels like, listen, they really would like some kind of mentorship, I'm more than happy. I would be honored to mentor our men and women. A lot of people think I only mentor women, of course, but I do mentor men and women. But I think to start the conversation, for whatever you need, just find me on social media or connect with me via my website, and we'll start the conversation.
Absolutely, this conversation starts immediately. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Thank you so very much, Anita, for joining us today at the Talk Influencers. Thank you. Of course, this is where we explore the mindset of amazing achievers. This happens to be our 117th episode on the Talk Influencers, and we have the amazing Anita Eskere on the show today. We are so delighted to have her today on the show. Every word that you have said today is really life transforming. Thank you so very much. All right, thank you, everyone, and until next time. Of course, if you missed this section will also be shared, of course, on our IG, on our IG, and of course on the YouTube as well. You can get the full section of this wonderful interview that we have with Anita today. Thank you so very much for joining us, and this is the Talk Influencers. Thank you very much. Bye bye for now. Thank you.